This is about the second time he'd ever spoken to that many people. And I was sitting backstage in an indolent sort of manner, and he was on next. And he was pacing up and down and chewing his fingernails. And I said, you're going to wear that carpet out. And I said, you're going to mangle your fingernail. He says, I know, but I'm on next. I'm on next. Well, I said, he said, what's the matter with you? You act like it doesn't make any difference. Well, he said, aren't you nervous? I said, yes, I'm nervous. But the idea is for me not to let the audience know that I'm nervous. Then I said, if you go out there chewing those fingernails, you're going to transmit nervousness and tension to your audience. And I said, what is your subject? He said, how to have a peaceful and positive attitude. Well, now, I sympathized with him because anybody who tries to make speeches has the same reaction. But if you sit down, pray to God, stop thinking about yourself, think about the people that you're supposed to help, peace and quietness will come to you. The number one important way to reduce stress and tension in your life is to have what Dr. Deborah Bright calls PQT. Personal quiet time. She's one of the most distinguished authorities on stress in the United States. And she states that unequivocally that if a person will have a quiet time, 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night, they can be master of stress and tension. We have available to us right this minute the greatest scientist in stress reduction the world ever knew. And he once said, peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Already, the magic of those words is not simulating peace, but actually producing peace in your mind. And again he said, these things have I spoken unto you, that my peace might be in you. Wherever or whenever was there a personality who had such peace as he possessed? The peace that passeth all understanding. And he says that peace may be in you. Now it so happens that we live in an uptight, psyched up, tensed up generation. I've often thought about the patron saints. You know, the Irish are very proud of St. Patrick. He was their patron saint. And St. George is the patron saint of the British. I've often wondered, have the Americans a patron saint? And I've decided that we have. Although he's never been officially designated by the Congress of the United States. But he has been designated by the action of the people. Our patron saint is Saint Vitus. We're a nervous, high-strung generation of people. I met a man on the street who said to me, do you like this town? referring to New York, I said, well, yeah, I've lived here a long while. I wouldn't want to live anyplace else. I love this place. Well, he said, how in the world do you stand it? And I said, well, I didn't have a chance to tell him how I stood it. But he says, you know, the very air of this town is filled with tension. I looked up at the air. And I said, I'll grant you the air is pretty dirty. It's filled with all kinds of things. But there isn't any tension up there in the air. The tension is in the mind of the people who breathe the air. Now, you don't need to be tense living in New York City. You don't have to be. If you condition yourself to be the master of stress. A large crowd of people poised on the corner of 57th Street and 5th Avenue, waiting for the light to change. When it changed from red to green, this crowd surged out into the street. And then it was that I heard this masculine voice. It was clear like a bell. It had that far-carrying quality peculiar to some extraordinary voices. There was within it a kind of poignant wistfulness as he said, I wonder, is there any sure cure of worry? Naturally, this caught my attention, and I turned around, trying to figure out who in the crowd could have said this. But I saw a mass of faces, the metropolitan countenance, which reveals little, and I was unable to ascertain who raised this extraordinary inquiry. But it had a haunting quality to it. Is there in this world anywhere a sure cure to this problem of worry which agitates and indeed devastates so many people? As I walked along, it came to my memory, this sure cure. And it is a sure cure. And you can find it spelled out in plain and simple terminology in the 34th Psalm, the 4th verse. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Now, the Bible is not an equivocating book. It isn't pusillanimous, dealing in speculative statements. It's a rugged, man-sized book that tells it exactly like it is. If you seek the Lord, he'll hear you, and he will deliver you from all your fears.